right, how about you guys introduce yourselves?
All right.
Who wants to start?
Oh gosh. Bill, why don't you start?
All right. So clearly, I don't like things that are necessarily on the beaten path. So Sunny, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the manga artist Taiyo Matsumoto. He's probably his biggest thing is he did Black and White, which is also known as Tekken Concrete. But Sunny is this really. It's about a bunch of kids in the Star Kids orphanage, and it's really like a slice of life. So it's a slower series. It kind of focuses each chapter on the different kids. It doesn't tell a narrative from A to Z as much as it kind of goes like, here's S, here's P, here's B, and all of those little slices add up to a whole thing. But it's really just this quiet, wonderful, beautiful work that I just return to and love.
That sounds pleasant. That sounds very
Yes. I'm gonna guess Berserk. Maybe not pleasant.
You know, where Sunny's very light, mellow, chill, and everything. We've got Berserk. There is death. There is violence. There's so much stuff happening during this. It is an epic saga. It's very much medieval European inspired. Like Victorian era, right? But this is a Japanese manga. What? That's right. It's a dark fantasy with a lot of elements that you see derived from Game of Thrones, things like that. It's inspired a lot of pop culture, as a matter of fact. Everybody here watch Avengers recently? Endgame and Infinity War? You guys see that Soul Stone area? Yeah, that's taken straight out of Berserk. The directors of that film were actually inspired by Berserk in terms of the dark elements from that. And it's inspirations, or it's inspired different elements of pop culture today. Berserk is one of the longest reigning manga series of all time. And it actually started in 1990. And it's still running today. And just before we get started, I just want to give a shout out, Dark Comics, where its publisher is. And it's a very, very large, one of the largest American manga publishers. It is their very best selling series of all time. Just saying.
So, that sounds awesome. So, and also, I don't know if you are old enough to have a Sega Dreamcast, but there was an amazing Berserk game on the Dreamcast. But anyway, that's fine. So Sunny, one of the things that I really like about it is it really takes time to explore the stories of each of the characters in a very almost like you're an observer type of way. So there's one of the kids who's very kind of loud and boisterous, but as it kind of explores, like, why is each of these people, why are they in an orphanage? What are the circumstances that led to them being there? You understand, like, this bad kid is not bad at all. He's just really desperate for attention, and his mom is still around, but she can't take care of him because she's not responsible. And he just holds on to this one memento of hers, and he just can't wait to see her. And it's a book that if you were not touched by it when you read it, then I don't think there's anything that'll touch you, because it's just really, it's a heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. And you just care about all these kids, and you're like, I want to take care of the Star Kids.
There you go, Bill.
Yeah.
It sounds so beautiful. I really want to read a lot of that. I guess with Berserk, the one thing that Element says, where this is a much more narrow-focused, smaller story, it sounds like. For Berserk, it's more of an epic. It's more of a saga. And it actually is broken down to different arcs over time. And it's inspired a lot of people, a lot of other artworks. But just going into the narrative of Berserk, it starts in as this medieval European inspired element of time. And it's really about war. And it covers themes of isolation, growing up as a youth that's being thrust into a world of war, and finding your way up the ranks of military and everything like that. And then finding true comrades and pretty much a family as an orphan, And with that, it also tackles on heavy elements of betrayal. I don't want to really spoil it, but there's mass betrayals that happen that pretty much, paint the rest of the entire story based on revenge. And it has dark elements. It really takes some really dark turns, but in all of its whole path, it is inspired with really, really dark and powerful drama. The things that happen when you think about war movies and the camaraderie that you feel with one person with the other and the brotherhood that happens, it really touches on those elements. And in a very gothic type of demons and stuff way.
Okay, so actually, do you guys wouldn't mind summing up or making your final arguments?
Is there any greater betrayal than a parent that chooses to not care for their child? Also, shout out to my kids right there. I forgot to mention this real quick. In case you're wondering, the title Sunny, there's a car. I guess the model is a Sunny this broken down car that the kids will go, and it's kind of their escape. They'll go in there and like pretend they're driving the car, or just get away from things, from the tough things in their life. But I think a lot about all of the things that lead to any one moment. And so all the countless causes and conditions that lead to us being all here right now, if you think about it, right? Like not just, we all decided to come, but our parents had us at the time they did, all of these things, right? And I think that's kind of what Sunny really is. It's this examination of all of those little causes and conditions that cause those kids to be in the situation they are and to be the people that they are despite the hard situation they're facing.
When it comes to these two mangas, what I really take into focus is what you're looking for. Sunny is more of a independent film, very narrow-focused, smaller and intricate, and it's an amazing story by itself. Where Berserk is more of an epic saga. It's inspired by various things, but for itself, it has so many elements of it in terms of camaraderie, betrayal, isolation, and revenge. And it really takes on those themes into a grandiose spectrum. It's, at this point, had over 40 volumes. This is a very, very long running series. Not only that, once again, it's taken multiple arcs. There's been movies, a trilogy of movies, 3 video games, 2 different anime adaptations. This is something that's pretty much a summer epic from multiple, elements. Basically, it's the Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones of manga.
All right.
All right, so I think it's time for the vote. You guys have all had a chance to think about this. If you would like to vote as the best manga fight today, Bijan for Berserk, then you're going to lift up your printed side of your card. If you want to vote for Bill and Sunny, you're going to lift up the white side of your card. On a count of 1, 2, 3, lift your cards.
Bill?
Whoa, really?
I don't know, maybe.
I can't tell.
It's so close.
It's really close.
Let's go with the front row. 3 people over there.
That's his family in the front row, just Okay. I don't know. I'm really not sure.
What do you guys think?
Sunny.
We can do a speed round.
What's a speed round?
Let's
I
give me
think
a question.
the Bills have it.
All right, Bills have it.
Bill wins.